Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Season 1, Episode 1 of Vapor Sports. I'm Logan. If you know me from my main channel, you've seen me a couple times, but I'm here to talk about some sports, mainly football, but sports. I am joined today by my friend Tate.
Hey everybody, my name's Tate. I am a freshman here in college, and I also love watching sports, mostly NFL and college football, and I'm excited to help you out with this channel.
Good shit, man. Good shit. So, that's about it. I think we should just get right to the sports, to be honest.
All right.
We're going to do a couple game recaps. We're going to talk about some power rankings. We are going to do some predictions for week 2. I guess we probably should have done this a little earlier instead of right after week 1 ended, but now it's better than never, I suppose. So, yeah, we'll skip week 1. It's basically preseason anyways, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what it was. And yeah, so let's jump right into it here. We got the Saints and the Bucs, America's game of the week, as Fox said. It's kind of self-proclaimed a little bit there, but I was very much looking forward to this one, second only to the Bronco game. I'm a Broncos fan. Yeah, why don't you start us off, Tate?
Yeah, for sure. So in this NFC South divisional matchup in Week 1, we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints. The Saints came out victorious, 34-23. Some notable stats: Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady, 23 out of 36, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick six, which was taken by Janoris Jenkins on the Saints. As far as rushing yards, Ronald Jones II with 17 carries and 66 yards. Receiving, Chris Godwin with 6 catches for 79 yards. And notably, Mike Evans with 1 catch for 2 yards was shut down by New Orleans Saints quarterback Marshawn Lattimore. Now, as for the Saints, we had Drew Brees with 18 out of 30 completions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of them was to Alvin Kamara, as well as Emmanuel Sanders. And the Saints have come out victorious in this Week 1 divisional rivalry.
All right, yeah, I was like I said, I already said this, but I was looking forward to this one, man. I was kicking my family off the TV because I was gonna watch this game. Um, I had the Saints going. I think I had the Saints winning because the Saints are such a good team, and I think they did say this in the game, but I definitely think this is important. Saints have a lot of returning players. They have a lot of veterans. So this changed offseason kind of hurt them the least in the NFL, except for maybe the Chiefs. But so they were kind of getting right into it. Obviously, everyone has to get back into a rhythm a little bit, but they didn't need that much. The Bucs, on the other hand, Tom Brady actually played pretty well. I mean, those 2 interceptions, if you take the 2 interceptions out, that's a pretty solid performance. The 2 interceptions definitely hurt them, especially the pick six. I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but it was actually Tom Brady was the first one to throw 3 pick sixes in 3 consecutive games in a row since
Right, that was
2013.
included in the Titans playoff game as well as the Dolphins game in Week 17 of the 2019 season. So,
yep,
you know,
I
don't
love to
want to
see it,
start
man.
that trend.
Love to see it. You know what? I'm kind of pulling for Brady. I don't want him to do too well, but so far, Belichick's done better without Tom. But yeah, I think the Bucs will pick it up. A lot of people actually picked them to win the Super Bowl, which I think is pushing it a little bit. I looked at the power rankings; they're still quite high. Which I just think is a little ridiculous. I think a team like that with all that raw talent, I think you have to let them prove themselves first because they haven't done anything. And an interesting thing is if you think about it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have been a lot better team if Jameis Winston didn't throw all those interceptions last year. They could have been a much better team actually. But
Yeah, it's crazy now because Winston is the backup for the Saints and
it's
really
true.
hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. I'm sure that once Breeze is gone, it's really the question of who will be in part of his place.
I do not think the Saints would go with Jameis Winston. I don't think they want to. I think they're too smart to do that. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely thought the Saints would win. It was kind of odd. I feel like the Saints early in the game were definitely took a little while to get started, but once they got rolling there, after about I don't know like the second-ish quarter, middle way through the second quarter, I pretty much saw it was over at that point. But interesting to see Tom Brady playing in another uniform, man. Yeah, Gronkowski, did he have it? I don't think he had any receptions, did he?
Rob Gronkowski had 2 catches for 11 yards, which
Yeah,
is
which is no,
really subpar.
that is I'm a Alabama fan from college, and their backup who was their what's his name? I think
OJ Howard.
OJ Howard. Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah.
He's a good tight end. Shame he's a backup. It's kind of unfortunate, but yeah. I mean, it was a fun game. I enjoy it for sure. I think that NFC South is going to be a fun division between the Bucs and the Saints, and I think even the Panthers and the Falcons to an extent could do a little bit of damage down there too. It's a pretty stacked division down there. All right, let's move on to the Cowboys and Rams. Sunday Night Football, prime time, brand new stadium for the Rams. That's a very nice stadium. Wow, looks good on the outside. It's open. There's no like doors or walls, which I think is pretty cool for LA. Why don't you break it down for me, Tate?
For sure. So, a really controversial ending involving wide receiver on the Cowboys, Michael Gallup, and Jalen Ramsey on the Rams. The Rams came out victorious. Point is 17. On the Rams, we had quarterback Jared Goff with 20 out of 31 completions, 275 yards, and 1 interception. On the ground, we had Malcolm Brown, running back from Texas, 18 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. And our leading receiver was Robert Woods with 6 catches and 105 yards.
Yeah,
Now, as
Woods.
for the Cowboys, oh, sorry.
Continue. I was just gonna say Woods had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did. And as for the Cowboys, we had, Dak Prescott, a lot of expectations for him coming into the season. 25 out of 39 yards, or completions, I'm sorry, 266 yards, a touchdown. Big Zeke with 22 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. And Amari Cooper with 10 catches for 81 yards.
Yeah,
It's
Amari
also
Cooper's a
rookie
beast.
CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma with 5 catches and 59 yards. So productive output for Cowboys receivers, but really in the
Yep.
end,
Yep.
that flop, I guess you could say, by Ramsey
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of the decider.
it was fantastic acting. I do have to say, man. Be a great Hollywood actor. Yeah, no, listen, man. Ramsey's a good player, but gosh, he is just way too cocky. There's a difference between cocky and confident. I think he's walking a thin line, and like I'm not saying he's a bad corner or anything, by any means whatsoever. But yeah, it's looking like a basketball player out there. But I was like in and out of watching this game. I had some extended family over, so I was like in and out of watching the game. But I did catch the end there, and it was an interesting call. I think I'm a little more. I still think you could potentially justify that even if Ramsey doesn't flop. Except it probably wouldn't have been called immediately, and I just think that Ramsey flop definitely sold it. Um, and I just gotta say, man, I mean, I hate when refs get bad calls, but I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, you start to understand. But at the same time, they're professionals; they need to get these things right. Pass interference has been a major problem for the NFL for a very long time. They've just haven't been able to get it right, even after that Saints call, and they decided, oh, you can review pass interferences. I don't remember how many that were challenged last year, but I don't think only a small percentage were overturned. Yeah, I'm not a huge Rams person. I don't think many people are. I definitely think the Cowboys are better than they were last year, and they're probably still going to go 8-8 because that's just a Cowboys thing. But hopefully they'll do better without Jason Garrett. I don't want to be that guy who jumps on the bandwagon, but I mean, Philadelphia lost to Washington on Sunday, so I think the
Yep.
Cowboys are kind of. I mean, I know it's only week 1, and it's kind of like they say, it's overreactions after week 1, and week 1 and week 2 are the hardest things to predict, man. But yeah, I mean, definitely think the Cowboys could do well just because it is such an easy division. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is kind of an easy division. And then the Rams, they're they have all three teams in their division are looking really good. I mean, the Niners have that defense. I know they lost to the Cardinals and, Super Bowl hangover kind of thing. I think they'll still be good. And then the Cardinals obviously are looking pretty good. D-Hop is there, of course, and then Seattle. As long as Seattle is Russell Wilson, man, I think they'll be just fine. Yeah, I don't have too many other opinions on this game. It was pretty lackluster. Let's get on to the Monday Night Football games. Before we get to the Broncos, just want to mention the Steelers and the Giants, which I thought was a very boring game. It just felt like the entire time the Giants weren't really doing anything. It's like they weren't really in the game. They didn't have much spirit. Which I guess I shouldn't have said that because the Broncos game ended up being as boring, if not more boring than that. So yeah. Why don't you break it down for me, the last Monday night game there?
For sure. So, well, the Titans kicker Steven Gostkowski, former Patriots for a long time, missed 3 field goals. One was blocked and an extra point, but ended up at the end of the day winning the game for them. The Titans prevailed 16-14.
Here's the
Denver
thing.
Broncos.
It was a 5-yard field goal. My grandma could kick that field goal. Like, continue.
I would say that the Denver Broncos time management, as far as, timeouts and stuff, I don't really remember entirely what happened at the end, but I'm pretty sure they could have,
pretty frustrating,
brought down the clock a lot. As far as our stats, we have Ryan Tannehill, 29 out of 43 completions, 249 yards, 2 interceptions, quarterback rating of 8.1.
2 interceptions?
Derrick Henry.
I don't think he had 2 interceptions.
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. I was about to say. I wish.
Yeah. Derrick Henry, workhorse running back, with 31 carries for 116 yards. And then leading receiver was Corey Davis with 7 catches and 101. For the Broncos, we had Missouri quarterback Drew Lock, who I actually think has potential. It's just
the horse cock, baby.
Yep. He finished with 22 out of 33 completions, 216 on yards, 1 touchdown. And Melvin Gordon, the former Chargers running back, made his debut with 15 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep.
And finally, we're receiving Noah Fant, the tight end, who we have been waiting on and was basically regarded as, first-round pick. He has potential, but he delivered with 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. However, that
all in the
could
first
not
half.
help them win.
All in the first half. He got
Right.
like 1 target in the second half, not any receptions. I think if they kept giving it to Noah Fant and they just kept pounding it to him, I think they could have done really well. But I just want to say the Broncos almost beat a team that went to the AFC Championship last year and retained a lot of their players, more than the Broncos did, and they did it without definitely their 2 best players and arguably their 4 best players for a large majority of the game, because they didn't have Von Miller, the Hall of Fame linebacker, of course. They didn't have Cortland Sutton, their star receiver, arguably the best player on the offense. They played without Philip Lindsay for most of the game, and I didn't think it would come in so early that having Melvin Gordon be such a good thing, but it came early, I suppose. And then, of course, their number 1 corner, AJ Boye, went out in what I think like the second quarter or something. So they had to play with 2 rookie cornerbacks there, and I actually think the rookies did quite well, especially since OJ Mudia was out for a week or 2 in training camp, and the other guy was brought up from practice squad. So yeah, I think I said this earlier, but I feel like the Titans didn't win that game. The Broncos just lost it. And
Right.
I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Broncos fan, because if you look at it, their first touchdown was because Melvin Gordon fumbled at the 25-yard line. If Melvin Gordon doesn't fumble there, the defense keeps playing well. Let's see what else. We had 4th and goal in the 1, and it was the play calling there was just awful. Just give it to Melvin Gordon, because he had a touchdown on the 1-yard line the next time they were down there. And he's, that's one of his strong suits, is just pounding it in from the goal line. That's where a lot of his touchdowns come from. The defense held up pretty well. It was definitely a bend not break kind of thing for the defense, for sure. Especially if you add up all those field goals, it would have been a lot. It would have been a very different game. But Drew Lock missed that throw at the end to an open Deshaun Hamilton that would have put them up 21-13, which is a one-score game, but it's hard to get 8 points with almost no time left. And I think Gordon was running quite well in the 4th quarter, and they just didn't give it to him. And then, of course, the Jerry Jeudy, the first drop, it was early. He's a rookie. I can understand that first drop. That is something where I say you're fine. Doesn't matter. It's preseason, and still with the second one, but the second one potentially cost us that game. And it's not one person's fault, because football is a team sport. But say Jerry Jeudy makes the catch, they get the first down, they're in field goal range, they got BMAC, and they can run the clock out more. Either Tennessee doesn't have timeouts, or there's not a lot of time left. So, it's not all his fault by any means. Drew Lock missed a throw. The defense had him on the 10-yard line, and they let him drive, almost got a touchdown. It was a chip shot field goal. Positives from Denver. The defense, the secondary played well. They only got 1 sack. Bradley Chubb did almost nothing that game. Punting's good. Damn good punter in there, and Sam Martin. It got him at the 1-yard line, so you can't complain about that. Special teams in general, I guess. The punting was good. I think Spencer had 1 or 2 good returns, actually, which was, he's a good returner. I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves. He barely made the team this year, but he's such a good returner, they decided to keep him. And then blocked field goal, man. The first few field goals that they missed, they were getting close, and I just felt like they were going to block one, and then they blocked it. And, I just remember sitting there, and the Broncos, I think both teams could have potentially blown out the other team when you think about it. Let's say Tennessee makes all their field goals. Well, that's what? So 14 points if they make the extra point, and then 4 field goals. So that's 26 points.
Simple math. I don't know.
26-14. That could have been a score. Or let's say Denver gets the touchdown on the 1-yard line. They kick the field goal, let's say they get the touchdown. And then Drew Lock throws a touchdown. That's 28-13. So I think either team could have potentially blown out one another. And it was disappointing for the Broncos, but at the same time, I think everyone kind of unanimously agrees, because you can say this. I said the same thing for Tampa Bay. This is really a preseason game. It's a preseason game that counts towards your record, which sucks ass. But I think it is what it is at this point. At least we have football. I'd rather have football than nothing at all. So overall, pretty entertaining. I'm glad football's back, even though the Broncos lost. I had a friend over, so it made it a little more bearable. If I didn't have someone to mess around with, it would have been a lot more miserable. But I think the Broncos will hit their stride, especially when especially when they're not missing 4 of their best players. For God's sake. And also, I forgot to mention, they did have that interception called back because of unnecessary roughness, I believe. And haven't seen any videos of that. But some people were like, "Yeah, I was off the ball," but then the whistle hadn't blown yet. It's football, man. You're playing a contact sport. If you're just standing around while the play is alive, you might get hit. And I just think that was one of those things. And I think the refs missed some calls on both sides. They missed holding calls on Tennessee, missed holding calls on the Broncos. There was a pass that was almost an interception that Drew Lock threw, and the guy just landed right on top of him. And all I thought was, I think that's roughing the passer, because they changed that recently. But it is what it is, man. The Broncos didn't execute, and then that lousy lousy time management. I don't know. Vic hasn't been a head coach for long, but it's just something you got to do, man.
Yep.
It can cost you games.
So the Broncos will face the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday the 20th on CBS. And even though the Broncos are last, I think the AFC West is really a division to watch, with the Chiefs, Raiders, and Broncos all kind of, the Chiefs are still the powerhouse, but I think that the Broncos and Raiders are definitely contenders as far as
I think even the
moving
Chargers, I
forward.
think all three of those teams could be contending for a wild card spot.
Yep.
It's going to be, I feel like the NFL is getting tighter and tighter, and in terms of like how good teams are, and even with that extra wild card spot, I just feel like there's less and less space, because if this is how good the Broncos were a few years ago, I'd feel a little more confident about them getting in. Maybe that's just me, but I just feel like there's so many good teams right now. All right, so that's our recaps for you. Let's just jump right into the power rankings. So I have them pulled up here. So this is the ESPN power ranking, done by ESPN, of course. So let's see. What the hell? Okay. So number 32, the Jets. They went from the 27th spot to 32. I can see that. Jets they're a bad team. I think that's all that needs to be said. Bengals are at 31. They went down one spot from 30. I don't think that's fair because if AJ Green doesn't commit that offensive pass interference, and if the kicker doesn't miss that field goal, they easily could have tied it / won that game. So I think that's kind of unfair, but whatever.
Yeah, I remember watching. Oh, sorry. I remember watching, Joe Burrow in college, just at LSU. Kind of the stuff he did with his passing and his feet, and I think will translate well to the NFL. It's just more how many games it will take for him to kind of adapt, because I think the AFC North is definitely a tough division, and he's going to have to deal with defenses like in the Steelers, TJ Watt and Bud Dupree, and then on the Ravens, contenders. So he's really going to have a lot of challenges, but I do think he will be able to, depending on how AJ Green and really his other receivers in Cincinnati do. I think that he does have potential to have a better season, unlike last year where Zach Taylor and Andy Dalton didn't really have that much success. So we'll see.
And the quarterback, of course, is the most important position in football, but at the same time, quarterback can't do much when he's getting pressured 80% of the time. There were a few throws that Burrow made that were a little iffy. I think he threw a very long interception, but he still played well, and I think on a lot of other teams he could potentially carry some teams, and Cincinnati, it's going to take more time. This is not going to be the year. At number 30 with Carolina Panthers, they went down 2 spots. I also think that one's a little unfair. They almost beat the Raiders. They had quite a few points. Offense played well. Defense, not quite as much. But I could be underestimating the Raiders' offense, of course. Not necessarily agreeing with that one. New York Giants, 29th. They stay where they are. Kind of agree with that. They showed, like, every once in a while they'd have a decent play. Freaking Saquon Barkley couldn't get the run game going, which kind of screwed up he was my starting running back in my fantasy league, so that's unfortunate. But he had some good catches. But I can agree with that one. Not going up or down. Dolphins go down to 28. They go down 2 spots. I didn't watch the Patriots-Dolphins game, so not much to say there. Jaguars go from 32 to 27 because they beat the Colts. Wow. You beat the Colts in week 1 against a Phillip Rivers whose balls are just more deflated than Tom Brady's. So congratulations, Jaguars. You got your 1 win of the fucking season. I think that's ridiculous. I think the Colts are a good team. It's not like they beat the fucking Chiefs or something. Browns go down 6 spots.
I think for the Jaguars, as far as, the drama that they've had kind of throughout the season, with starting off with the Foles contract they gave, and Leonard Fournette and Jalen Ramsey. So it goes on and on. I think that they have to find a way to kind of avoid those distractions and just play football.
Right.
They they had all these contracts and now they're kind of getting lost in the money and really just trying to figure out who they are. But if they can go back to that, 2016 season where they got to the AFC Championship game with Blake Bortles, with Jalen Ramsey, all those guys, if they can produce that same amount of, success, there might be, a chance that they come back to where they were. But as of now, it's kind of that rebuilding phase. So we'll see.
Yeah. Browns at 26. Never been high on the Browns. I actually like their draft. I thought the Browns had a really good draft, but it's all talent, no substance. That's I don't not much else to say there. Definitely think they're in the right spot. Detroit Lions are at 25. They've not gone up. Boy, come on, guys. It's Mitchell fucking Trubisky. It's not Aaron Rodgers. All right, you get to play him later. So yeah, that was pretty. I didn't think the Bears had a chance, but apparently they did. Washington football team. They gotta win. They gotta win week 1. They have a better record. They have a better record than the Broncos. Isn't that something? They're only one rank
Yeah,
behind the Broncos. Isn't that crazy? They went up from the 31st spot. They went up 7 spots. That's a lot in a power ranking. That's a lot
yeah,
to
I
go
really
up.
like Washington just because I'm an Ohio State fan and I've seen their rookies. Chase Young is going to be a beast, but also Dwayne Haskins, our quarterback. He had a really, I guess you could say, average season last season in 2019. But I think, with the as far as core receivers and running situation definitely needs clearing up. But I think that right now they're leading the division, so I think they have potential. Ohio State produces a lot of good, players, and I think that Chase Young definitely will be one to watch as far as what he can do on the defensive line. But yeah, we'll see what happens with
Okay. So, yeah, I can see that. I still don't think they're gonna go very far this season, but I'm just glad to see them get that win, man. 23, we got the Denver Broncos. They were 23 at the start of the season. Didn't go up, didn't go down. I can agree not moving them, but I think they should have been higher in the first place. We forgot to mention this. Drew Lock was not sacked in that game. The offensive line played a hell of a game. And I'm surprised. The Broncos should have scored way more than 14 points. Yeah, but I mean, I can see this. I can see them not moving them up or down since they were, they basically were up with 30 seconds left against a team that beat the Ravens and went to the AFC Championship. So I think that's fair. Chargers, they moved up from 24 to 22. Like, I don't like what they did with the Bengals. Don't like this one either. You beat the Bengals. Congratulations, all right? You got an easy preseason game, all right? So, yeah, I know they've got some good players, but I just really think that they're the weak link of the AFC West, and I just don't think. I guess you do have to move up if you win, but yeah. Atlanta Falcons moved from 18 to 21. Yeah, they Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards. That is insane, and they lost. Throwing for 450 yards and losing is a pretty hard thing to do. So, yeah, I'm still gonna keep my eye on the Falcons. I still think they could do well. Like I said, I still think they could compete with the Bucs and the Saints. But Seattle's a good team, man. Seattle's a good team. So I think they dropped a little more. Chicago Bears went up from 22 to 20. I'm sorry, but no team with Mitchell Trubisky should be in the top 20, and that's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, still an impressive game by Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, even if you don't like him, which most people don't, you still have to admit. Houston Texans went from 16 to 19, which I think should have been more. Yeah, I get it, it's the Chiefs, but you're the Texans. You have Deshaun Watson. I mean, I guess they should have just been lower than 16 in the first place, since they basically purged their lineup, and their offensive line is not, it's something be scoffing at. Colts go from 14 to 18. Never been high on the Colts this year. I get it. They are one of those teams where they don't have a lot of bling, but they're like the opposite of the Browns. They don't have a lot of bling, they have a lot of substance, and I think they could do well. Good 8-8 season. But I mean, Philip Rivers, I mean, I love the man, but I don't know how far he can take you nowadays. But maybe I just don't believe in Philip Rivers because the Broncos beat him up twice a year. So Raiders go from 21 to 17. I think that's a little unfair. You beat the Panthers, who are damn near the bottom. They went up 4 spots, which is a little ridiculous in my opinion, but whatever. Philadelphia Eagles go from 12 to 16. Probably should have been lower because he lost to Washington, the football team. Not going to say much more there. Cardinals go up 4 spots to 15. Definitely agree with that one. Maybe could it be even higher? They beat the 49ers, man. Second best team in the league last year. Great defense, so yeah. Vikings go from 10 to 14. No defense. Aaron Rodgers was having a fucking field day, apparently. I didn't watch the game, but just looking at the score, you knew he had a field day. Tampa Bay Bucs go from 6 to 13. Yeah, damn right. I still think they could jump back, but as of right now, I agree with that pick. I think they were a little too high to begin with. I think people just forgot how bad Tom Brady was last year. Cowboys go from 8 to 12. Probably should have won the game, so that's a little unfair. Maybe a spot or 2 down would be a little more realistic. Steelers go up to 11. I can agree with that. Steelers defense was dominant, so I can definitely see that one. Broncos have to play them this week. The Rams go from 17 to 10. What? No. They went up 7. Washington should have gone up more than them. That's pretty dumb. I think that's ridiculous. Patriots go from 15 to 9. I mean, they should have gone up, obviously. That's, it's a good performance, but you are playing the Dolphins, who, they had a good offseason, but a really bad team getting a few good players just makes them a bad team. Titans go from 9 to 8. Seems reasonable. They won a close game, so they're going to go up, but yeah. Buffalo Bills go from 11 to 7. I am high on the Bills this year, man. I think they can win that division and go very far with that defense. Niners go from 3 to 6. Probably should have dropped more than that. Like, come on. I already talked about the Cardinals. Yeah. Packers go from 7 to 5. I can see that. Big offensive day for them. Seattle goes from 5 to 4. Fair enough. New Orleans goes from 4 to 3. Yep. And the Ravens and the Chiefs stay the same at 1 and 2. So, pretty reasonable power rankings outside of probably 2 or 3 that I didn't quite agree with. So yeah, there's your power rankings. Anything to add, Tate? All right, so
I don't know. Does it work?
Yep, I can hear you. You're good.
Oh, just make sure.
All right, so do you have like a piece of paper or something so we can make our picks?
Yeah, I want to get one right now.
I'll just use like some. I'll just grab this and use some. No, you're muted. You muted yourself.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, there we go. All right, so first game, Cincinnati at Cleveland. They're both 0-1. Both teams played pretty bad. This is a really hard pick for me. What do you think? I'm gonna put this off as long as I can.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go with the Browns just because I think they can rebound from a disastrous week 1. Sure, I think the Ravens definitely they pummeled them, but I think the Browns will be able to regroup. I'm not sure Joe Burrow will be able to torch that Browns defense as much. I think the the Browns just have to figure out kind of a way to not start off sloppy. And I
Yep.
think week
Well,
one kind
and
of
week
showed that.
two,
But,
week
you
two,
know,
they'll be able to do that.
yeah. So I got the Browns in this
Yeah, I'm gonna
one.
take the Browns as well. They're 6-point favorites. I think it could be a very close game, but I'm gonna take the Browns just because they're a little more grounded. Let's see. So next game we got Minnesota at Indianapolis. Both teams had very lousy week ones. One team lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, widely considered the worst team right now, and the other one got blown out by, admittedly, a very, very good quarterback. But you know, they got scored a lot on, and theoretically, Minnesota's supposed to have a good defense. So this is another hard pick for me. Colts are actually favored by 3 in this game, but I'm gonna go
Uh,
Minnesota.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Minnesota as well. I think they'll be able to rebound. Hopefully, I think with the Vikings, they have, Kirk Cousins and they lost Stephon Diggs, but the thing is they have to find a way just to, use Dalvin Cook. He's kind of that workhorse running back that you need to use kind of like Derrick Henry. I think they'll find a way.
Yep.
It should be a close game, but I think I got the Vikings in this one.
Okay. All right, so next we have Atlanta at Dallas. Cowboys are favored by 6 points here. Both teams lost. Dallas in bit of an upset, but close game, and then Atlanta lost by more than one score. So I'm gonna go Dallas on this one. Like I said, I like Atlanta, but I'm gonna have to still go Dallas.
Yeah, I'll go Dallas as well. I think they'll definitely have a better game from Cooper and Gallup and as well as Dak. So, and hopefully they can close out games. I think that's their big issue is just finding a way to, when it's 2-minute warnings, they can drive the ball and get points, or their defense can show up at the right time. So I got the Cowboys in this one as well.
All right, so then we have New Orleans at Las Vegas. Both teams won their first games. The Saints are favored by 5.5 points. I'm gonna go New Orleans. Vegas, they won a game, but against a pretty bad team overall. I actually like the Panthers this year. I definitely think they could be better than last year, but I'm gonna just go New Orleans just because they look really good right now. It looks like they were probably, other than maybe the Chiefs, the most prepared team for this season.
Yeah, I got the Saints as well. I don't really think this is not debatable, but I got the Saints.
Awesome. All right, so then we got San Francisco at the Jets. San Francisco and the Jets both lost their first games. Niners are favored by 7 points. I'm going to go Niners. I don't think this is going to be much of a game.
I got the Niners as well. I think depending on the injury of George Kittle with his knee sprain, you'll kind of wonder what receiving and what kind of options they have. But I still have, Jimmy G and the boys pulling it out. So
Okay, let me. What the hell? It didn't give me all the. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Sorry, I have to pull up a whole nother website because it wasn't giving me all the games. Bengals. Okay, we did that. Okay, so we got Carolina at the Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady's gonna come out a little angry, don't you think? He's gotten a lot of crap on social media. He's got, oh, he's system quarterback, he can't play with the new team and that kind of thing. I think he's gonna be angry. I think he's gonna come out with his A game, and I think he's gonna have a really good game. I think the Panthers will stay in it for 3 quarters or so, and then I think the Bucs will pull away in the end.
yeah, I got the Bucs as well. One of my favorite players on the Panthers is McCaffrey, Christian.
Yep.
He's just, he's a special talent, but I think for a few years, just, with him and Cam Newton, they weren't necessarily using him in the wrong way, but just more wasn't, delivering as far as wins. And they were, I believe last year, they were, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure they lost 5 straight games. And in those 5 games, McCaffrey was just like going off on a tear. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it will get you a win. So but I still got the Bucs in this one. I think Brady will, as that.
All good, man. All right,
Okay.
let's just jump right back into it. So we're gonna get game to watch. Denver at Pittsburgh. Hate to pull. I mean, I'm not gonna pull against my Broncos, but that Pittsburgh defense just looks a little too good to be beaten right now. So I'm gonna go Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, well, being a Steelers fan, I know you're a Broncos fan. I'm gonna have to go with my Steelers on this one. I think
I can't argue it.
I think they'll pull it out.
I'm not going to defend my Broncos for that one. Listen, I think the Broncos I think they have more of a chance than anyone's going to give them, but I think the Steelers are probably going to control the line of scrimmage for sure.
Yep.
Even though the Broncos didn't allow any sacks, but yeah. All right, so let's keep moving on. We got the Rams at the Eagles. But the Rams got a win, and the Eagles didn't. Gosh, I don't even know what to think about the Eagles, because the thing is, you can't judge a team off of the first game. I'd make that argument for the Bucs and the Broncos. But at the same time, man, you can't lose to the Washington football team, all right? The team that has almost as many problems as the Jaguars. Them and the Jaguars are kind of up there for the most mistakes a football team has made recently. But gosh, it's just hard to pick a team that lost to one of the worst teams in the NFL last week. But I'm just so low on the Rams. I don't think they're that good, but I'm gonna have to go the Rams on this one. I just don't trust the Eagles right now.
Yeah, I guess this will be my first one to disagree with. I think the Eagles will pull it back. The thing about the Eagles is that they have all the pieces. They have, Carson Wentz, who is not an average quarterback, but more like there are games where he will falter and there are games where he will stand out. But I think they have all the pieces. It's just more whether that will come together. And again, as you said, it's week one. Can't really make a judgment, but I actually think this will be a close game, and I believe that the Eagles will be able to pull it out. But again, that's just my opinion. So
yeah, no, I can understand that, and I could have easily gone the Eagles. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. I don't think this is too much of a question. Love Tua Tagovailoa as an Alabama fan. He's not even playing, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, the Dolphins have a few shiny new toys, but other than that, I'm gonna have to go the Bills because their defense is so damn good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Bills as well. I think they'll get Diggs kind of going, and Josh Allen will have a field day as far as passing. So,
all right, awesome. So let's move on. We got the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Not much of a question on this one for me. I'm gonna go Packers. They scored a bunch of points. And the Lions got beat by Mitchell Trubisky. So I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, and that's about all I have to say.
Yeah, I got the Packers as well. The thing with the Lions is that with Matt Patricia and just Matthew Stafford, how long is it going to be until they deliver? And it's been too long, and I think it's going to keep continuing.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Giants at Bears. This is a hard one because, yeah, good job. The Bears beat the Detroit Lions, which isn't that hard. And the Giants got beat by a good team. But the question is, did the Giants kind of bite themselves there, or was it just because the Steelers were so damn good? That is the real question when it comes down to it. It's a hard one, man, because, I mean, the Bears' defense is good. I'm going to just go the Bears because I feel like it's the safer choice, and because of that defense, not because of Mitchell Trubisky's performance last week.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the safe side as well. I have the Bears. This shouldn't really be that close of a game, but, if Barkley can step up and kind of go back to the form that he was last year, I don't know, maybe something changes, but I have the Bears in this as well.
Fair enough. We got the Washington football team at the Cardinals. Washington got a win against the Eagles last week, so they're 1-0. And the Cardinals pulled off. I'm seriously questioning which one of these teams had a bigger upset last week. Because on one hand, you have a Cardinals team that we already knew was probably pretty good, who beat a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. But we have the Washington football team, arguably the worst team last year, who beat a team that went to the playoffs. So, I mean, which is a bigger upset? Can't really say for sure. But Cardinals are a better team. Cardinals have more pieces. Cardinals have more talent. I'm going Cardinals.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals in this one as well. I think they'll pull it out. I do like Washington. I think again they have some superb talent on with Chase Young and but yeah, I think the Cardinals will get this one done with Kyle Murray and D-Hop. So
all right, and now we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think every man in America who has ever done any kind of sports betting learned last week, you're probably going to win more money if you bet that they will go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl than if you bet that they lose a game or two.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs.
Got the Chiefs big time. I think that's one of the easiest picks this week. We got the Ravens at the Texans. Listen, man, I think that the Texans are not a great team, but they got Deshaun Watson. And I think as long as they got Deshaun Watson, they have a chance, even without an offensive line or much of a defense. So I'm going to go the Ravens. Might have bamboozled you there for a second.
I think the Texans will.
What, Reese?
Well, I think in the first half they'll definitely have some potential just with their offense, but at the same time I think that the Ravens will pull it out. Lamar Jackson is definitely one of the best quarterbacks other than as far as I can think of Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. Right. And they'll pull it out. So
I agree. Totally agree there. We got Patriots at Seahawks. This might be my game to watch this week. This is going to be a very good one. Gosh, this is so hard because the Pats have that defense, and then they got Super Cam, man. They got Super Cam who had a pretty good game. I mean, it was against the Dolphins, but damn it, it was a good game. And then you got Seattle, the team that has never been super flashy. They've never really been, since they won the Super Bowl, that number one team. But tell me the last time Seattle was bad. They have been good every year since they went to that Super Bowl.
I
I'm
was
going to go Seattle
say
because they have that experience.
Yeah, oh man, this is so hard. Well, the thing is, I think the Patriots, if you look back at that Super Bowl matchup with, how long ago was that? Anyway, Patriots Seahawks in that Super Bowl where they should have given the ball to Marshawn. But anyway, I think, the Patriots have a new team, Cam Newton, and I actually think that they will get it done.
Right.
I think the Seahawks will definitely provide some resistance, but I think the Patriots will prevail with Cam Newton.
I don't know if that's necessarily a hot take, but it's pretty warm. So we have all the same picks except for 2 games. So if one of us each wins that game that we picked against, we could still be tied potentially. But I have a feeling one of us is going to come out on top week 2. So thanks everyone for joining us here. I think we had a pretty good first episode. Let me know in the comments what do you want to see more of on this kind of channel. Oh, actually, wow. Before we go, I do want to mention the Denver Nuggets, who are going to Game 7, and if they win this, it'll be the second series that they were down 3-1 and they came back in. And I don't want to jinx it, but it's pretty awesome. I think the Nuggets can pull it out tonight. I think they have that momentum. What do you think, Tate?
Yeah, I've been watching the series. I think the Clippers really just, with Kawhi and PG-13, I think they have all the pieces. And again, they lacklusterly beat Dallas. And that series wasn't really out of the picture. But I think the Nuggets, from experience, they came back from the 3-1 lead against the Jazz. And again, I think this will be a really good game. I don't really have a preference for who will win, but I think that the Clippers might just be able to pull this out. So
yeah.
And again, the winner will face the Lakers and LeBron. and that would be a really good series regardless of who
I agree.
gets through. So
I
I'm
think
excited
it'll
to
be
watch
cool if the
tonight.
Clippers win, because if you have two LA teams, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
I'm
I'd
gonna
love
be
to
pulling
see
for
the
Nuggets.
underdog.
Yep.
I'd love to see the underdog in the Nuggets with Jamal Murray and Jokic just get it done. But yeah, I think I got the Clippers in this one.
Yep. All right, fair enough. I mean, I'm gonna choose the Nuggets because they're that hometown team, and I think they have the spirit and they've got the drive to pull it off. Even though I do think the Clippers overall on paper are a better team. But yeah, so thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, do you want to see more of a scripted thing? Do you like this sort of podcast format where we just go through the motions? I'm trying to decide if I want to make this like a once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week kind of thing. But just let me know what kind of stuff you want to see here. It's a little bit of an experiment that I kind of just pulled out of my ass last night. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. We will see you guys in the next one.
Peace.